Chapter 11. Arthur Riseman. It was October. It was cold and wet. Anna was not very busy at the shop. She was very unhappy. She was a different girl. She seemed older. She didn't go out much. She looked ill. Most of the villagers knew that Anna had quarrelled with Peter. They also knew that she had been to London with Dave. But no one was able to help Anna. She did not talk to anyone. Before, she had been a happy, smiling girl. Now she was sad and lonely. She went to the shop every day. She was waiting for another special customer. Anna did not wait long. It was the middle of the month. Anna was alone in the shop. It was almost lunchtime. A middle-aged gentleman came in. He was a big man with a very large moustache. He was well dressed, and he was carrying a large briefcase. "Good morning, miss," he said politely. "Good morning, sir," said Anna. "Can I help you?" Anna was very polite too. She was interested in this man. "I'm looking for Mr. David Slayton," said the man. Anna smiled. "Are you a salesman?" she asked. She knew that he was not a salesman. He didn't look like a salesman, but she wanted to talk to the man. The man smiled. "Yes, I am a salesman," he said. That was not true. Anna knew that the man was lying. Then she said, "Perhaps I can help you, sir. I usually speak to the salesman." She looked at the man's case. It had the letters A-R-I-C-S printed on it. "Thank you," said the man very politely, "but I have a private appointment. I have come from London, and I must see Mr. Slayton." "I'm sorry," said Anna. "He's very busy at the moment, but I'll tell him you're here. What's your name, please?" The man smiled. "Roberts," he said. "Arthur Roberts." Anna went to the back of the shop. Dave was coming down the stairs. "There's a man in the shop," said Anna. "He wants to speak to you." "Thanks," said Dave, and he went to the front of the shop. "Good morning, Mr. Riseman," said Dave. "I'm pleased to meet you." Anna listened. Riseman! The man's name was Riseman, not Roberts. What a liar! The man did not look at Anna. "I'm pleased to meet you, Mr. Slayton," the man said. "Please come with me," said Dave. Mr. Riseman followed Dave. They went into the special orders room. A minute later, Dave came out. He came to the front of the shop. "It's lunchtime, Anna," he said. "You can go home now." "Thanks, Dave," said Anna. "I'm going in a few moments." Dave went back to the special orders room. Anna did not leave the shop. She waited. Anna wrote down the letters A-R-I-C-S. She understood A-R, Arthur Riseman, but she did not understand I-C-S. At 1:30, Anna heard noises. Mr. Riseman was leaving. Dave was talking. "Thank you, Mr. Riseman," said Dave. "And thank you," said Mr. Riseman. "You have helped me a lot." "Good," said Dave. "Goodbye, Mr. Riseman. My assistant isn't in the shop, but you can open the door. Goodbye." Dave went upstairs, and Mr. Riseman came into the front of the shop. Anna was sitting quietly in a corner. "Oh," said Mr. Riseman, "I thought you'd gone home." "No," she said. "I decided to have lunch in the shop today." Anna and Mr. Riseman looked at each other. They didn't like each other. There was silence. Anna spoke first. "Would you like to buy some bread, Mr. Roberts?" she said. "Riseman, my name is Riseman," said the man. Anna smiled. "I'm so sorry," she said. "Would you like to buy some homemade bread, Mr. Riseman?" "It looks delicious," said Mr. Riseman. He was very polite again. "Yes, I'll take some, please. My wife will love it." "Here you are," said Anna. She put the bread in a bag. Then she said, "You can put it in your briefcase." "My briefcase?" said Mr. Reisman. "I haven't got a briefcase." "I think you've forgotten it," she said. "I'll go and get it for you." Anna moved towards the back of the shop. Mr. Reisman stepped in front of her. He held her wrists. He was very strong. "Listen to me," he said. "I don't want that briefcase. Leave it there." "All right," said Anna. "Please let me go. You're hurting me." Mr. Reisman let go of Anna and turned towards the door. He left the shop hurriedly. He hadn't taken his bread with him. Anna watched Mr. Reisman leave. Her hands were still hurting 5 minutes later. Chapter 12. Anna waits for news. Anna waited for some news about Mr. Reisman. She remembered Greta Gordon. The film star had visited the corner shop. Later there was news about her in a magazine. Mike Bailey had visited the corner shop too. Later there was a lot of news about him on TV. And now Mr. Reisman had visited the corner shop. Anna was waiting for some news about him. All 3 visitors had been special customers. They had all seen Dave. They had all been in the special orders room. And they had all left something with Dave. Greta Gordon had left her diamond rings. Mike Bailey had left his case. Mr. Reisman had left his briefcase. Anna wanted to find out more about the 3 special customers. She thought about Mr. Reisman. His case had the letters ARICS on it. She understood AR, but what was ICS? Perhaps Mr. Reisman was a businessman and ICS was his company. Anna looked in the newspapers, but she didn't find anything about ICS. She read the magazines. She listened to the radio. She watched TV. But there was nothing about ICS. Anna heard nothing. She saw nothing. Then she had an idea. She decided to go to London and find Arthur Reisman. It was a Friday. Early in the morning she left a note for Dave. She took the note to the shop. "Dear Dave," it said, "sorry I can't come in today. I'm going to Lydney. I'm buying some things for my wedding. Anna." The note did not tell the truth, but Anna didn't care. Anna took a bus to Lydney and then caught a train to London. She got to Paddington Station at midday. She got off the train and looked for a telephone box. The telephones were near to the entrance to the station, but the boxes were all full. She stood and waited. Then Anna saw the letters ICS. There they were. They were on a huge advertisement. Anna had found the answer to her problem. International Computer Services, ICS. Perhaps that was Mr. Reisman's company. Soon one of the phone boxes was empty. Anna rang the number, 222-8959. "ICS, can I help you?" said a woman's voice. "Yes, please," said Anna. "I want to speak to Mr. Reisman, Mr. Arthur Reisman. I think he works at ICS." The woman laughed. "Works here? Yes, he does," she said. "He's the vice chairman of the company. Wait one moment, please. I'll get his secretary." Then there was another woman's voice on the phone. "Mr. Reisman's secretary, can I help you?" "Yes, please," said Anna. "I'd like to speak to Mr. Reisman." "Who's calling, please?" said the secretary. "Mr. Reisman doesn't know my name," Anna replied. "Is Mr. Reisman expecting your call?" the secretary asked. "No, he isn't," said Anna. "I'm afraid he can't speak to you now," said the secretary. "He's at a meeting now, and he's flying to Switzerland in an hour's time." "But I must speak to him for a few minutes," said Anna. The secretary became annoyed. "That's impossible," she said, "but I can take a message." "No, thanks," said Anna. "I'll call again next week. Will Mr. Reisman be back then?" "Yes, he will," replied the secretary. "Goodbye." And she put the phone down. Anna had found Mr. Reisman's company, but she hadn't spoken to him. Anna spent the afternoon in London. She went to see a film, then she had tea in a small cafe near Paddington Station. Her train left London at 6:30. She bought an evening newspaper and got on the train. Anna was tired, but she felt happy. After a few minutes, she looked at her newspaper. Anna was waiting for some news. There it was, on the front page. Private plane crash near London. 6 dead, all from ICS. 6 people were killed this afternoon in a plane crash at Enfield near London. The plane was flying to Switzerland. The passengers were all from International Computer Services, ICS. Among them was Mr. Alfred Gluck, the chairman of ICS. Mr. Arthur Reisman, vice chairman of ICS, told us, "I'm lucky to be alive. I was at a meeting today. The meeting went on for a long time, and I didn't catch the plane." Mr. Reisman will probably be the new chairman of ICS. Chapter 13. The Special Orders Room. Anna got home about 10 o'clock. She turned on the radio and listened to the news. The chairman of ICS was dead, and Mr. Reisman was the new chairman. Anna didn't sleep that night. She was thinking about Dave Slayton and the special orders. What were they? What was Dave Slayton doing in that room? On Saturday morning she went to the shop. Dave said nothing to her. He was angry because Anna had not worked on Friday. He didn't ask about her day off, and Anna didn't tell him about it. At 11 o'clock, Dave left the shop. He got in his car and drove off. Anna was alone. This was her chance. She went to the back of the shop and turned the handle of the locked door. But the special orders room was not locked. Dave had forgotten to lock it. Anna opened the door and went into the room. It was a small room, dark and hot. Anna turned on the light, but it was not a very strong light. She looked round the room. There was a small table, 2 old chairs, and a lot of boxes. That was all. Special orders? There were no order books, no papers, no pencils. Anna walked round the table. It was difficult because there were a lot of boxes on the floor. Anna opened one of the boxes and looked inside. She found some old magazines and newspapers. Underneath, there were some dirty old clothes. But underneath the clothes, she discovered some money. Lots of money. British money, French money, American, German. There was money from all over the world. Anna was amazed. She had never seen so much money before. She looked round again and found Mike Bailey's case. It was empty. Then she found Arthur Reisman's briefcase. That was empty too. Then Anna looked into a bigger box. Inside it were some dolls with broken arms and legs. One of the dolls was very beautiful, but it had a broken arm. Anna put it on the table. Then Anna found a book about football. Inside there were some pictures of footballers, but the pictures were all torn. Anna put the book on the table. Anna looked into the box again and found some little cars. Most of them were broken. She found a small model aeroplane. It was broken too. Anna put all these things on the table. What a strange collection. There was the money, the broken doll, the toy cars, the model aeroplane, and there was the football book with the torn pictures. Anna looked at the things on the table. What were they for? Why did Dave Slayton keep them in this locked room? Suddenly Anna jumped. There was a noise behind her. Someone was standing at the door. Chapter 14. The Special Customers. "What about the diamond rings?" said a voice. It was Dave Slayton. He was laughing. "I left the door open for you," he said. "I wanted you to go into this room this morning." Anna was frightened, but she tried not to show her fear. "You haven't found the diamonds," Dave said again. Anna remembered Greta Gordon's diamond rings. Were they in this room too? "Here," said Dave. He came into the room and picked up an old box. He took out the rings and threw them on the table. "They aren't yours," said Anna. "They belong to Greta Gordon." "They belong to me," laughed Dave. "She gave them to me." "But why?" asked Anna. "Why? Why did Greta Gordon give you those diamonds? And all this money? Who gave you the money?" "My special customers," said Dave. "My special customers gave me the money. It's mine now." "Mike Bailey and Mr. Reisman gave you all this money?" asked Anna. "Yes," said Dave. "You have seen some of my special customers, not all of them." "But why do they come?" Anna asked again. "These people come to me for help," replied Dave Slayton. "I help them, and they pay me." "But how do you help them?" asked Anna. Dave Slayton picked up the beautiful doll with the broken arm. "Do you remember Joanna Lee?" he asked Anna. Anna thought for a moment. "Joanna Lee?" she said. "Yes, of course I remember her. She's the actress who broke her arm. Greta Gordon got her part." "That's right," said Dave Slayton. "This doll is Joanna Lee." Anna felt more afraid. What kind of man was Dave Slayton? Dave Slayton pointed to a torn photograph in the football book. "Who's that, Anna?" he asked. Anna remembered the face. She had seen it on TV. "Brian Thomas," she replied. "He's a goalkeeper." "He was a goalkeeper," said Dave Slayton. Anna was terribly frightened now. Dave Slayton was an evil man. Dave Slayton moved close to Anna. He picked up the broken aeroplane. "And what do you think this is?" he asked Anna. Anna knew the answer, but she was too afraid to speak. Dave Slayton took Anna's arm and held it tightly. Anna tried to move away. Dave Slayton laughed and held Anna more tightly. "Listen, Anna," he said quietly. "I want you. I need you. Marry me, Anna. Don't marry Peter. Marry me." "No, no," she cried. "Let me go! Let me go!" "But Anna, you still don't understand," said Dave Slayton. "I have strange powers. I can give you everything you want." He looked into Anna's eyes. "And my children will have these powers too," he continued. "I will give you money and diamonds, and you, Anna, you will give me children." Anna was terrified now. She kicked Dave Slayton very hard, and he let go of her hand. Anna moved quickly. She ran out of the special orders room, through the front of the shop, and out onto the street. She ran all the way home. Chapter 15. The 31st of October. When Anna got home, she felt terrible and went to bed. In the evening, Peter came to see her, but Anna was ill in bed. "I'll come and see Anna tomorrow," Peter told Anna's mother. Again, Anna did not sleep all night. The next day, Sunday the 31st of October, was a terrible day for Wood End. Anna stayed in bed. She had a fever, and her mother phoned the doctor. The doctor came immediately. "Anna's very ill," said the doctor to Anna's mother. "I'm worried. I don't know what's wrong with her. I'll come back again tonight." That afternoon, Peter came to Anna's house. He tried to speak to Anna, but she was too ill. He sat quietly beside her bed. At about 7 o'clock, Peter heard shouting in the street. He went to the window and looked outside. People were running and shouting, "Fire! Fire! Fire! There's a fire at the corner shop!" Peter ran out of Anna's house and into the street. There was a big fire on the corner. The shop was in flames. Nobody could see Dave Slayton. "His car's here," said Mr. Hart. "Dave must be inside." Then the villagers saw him. He was standing at an upstairs window. "Jump, Dave!" they shouted. "Jump! Save yourself!" But Dave did not move. He was standing at the window, and he was laughing. Some of the women in the street started screaming. Mr. Hart tried to run into the shop, but the others pulled him back. Flames were leaping up from the shop. The flames reached Dave Slayton. The villagers saw that he was still laughing. That was the last time they saw him. The flames hid him completely. No one was able to save him, and no one ever saw him again. Peter went back to Anna's house. The doctor was in the kitchen, talking to Anna's mother. Suddenly, there was a scream. They ran upstairs to Anna's room. Anna was dead.